Hi students, welcome to session 4 of Water, a Precious Resource. Students, in the previous session we discussed about natural distribution of water in India. We also discussed about scarcity of water and effects of water scarcity on plants. So we basically discussed about the causes which lead to scarcity of water, right? But we also need to take some preventive measures. So for that we need to study a very important topic, and that is conservation of water. So let us discuss about this important topic in our today's session. Yes students, conservation of water. Students, India is still not in the water stressed category, but the day is not far when we will be facing a water crisis. So we need to think of various ways to strictly avoid the wastage of water. Students, you will be very amazed to know that our ancient religious texts and epics give a very good insight into the water storage and conservation systems that prevailed in those days. And over the years, rising populations, growing industrialization, and expanding of agriculture have pushed up the demand of water. So efforts have been made to collect water by building dams and reservoirs and digging wells. Some countries have also tried to recycle and desalinate, means remove the salts from water. So water conservation has become the need of the day. The idea of groundwater recharging by harvesting rainwater is gaining importance in many cities. In the forests, water seeps gently into the ground as vegetation breaks the fall. This groundwater in turn feeds wells, lakes and rivers too. So protecting forests means protecting water catchments. In ancient India, people believed that these forests were the mothers of rivers and worshipped the sources of these water bodies. So basically, water conservation is a big thing, but every little bit help. So every little bit of help also is very important. So don't think that what you do doesn't matter. A whole lot of people doing a little bit adds up to a whole lot. So we must all make changes in our lifestyles that will change the course of our water and its quality. So water conservation needs to be a way of life, not just something we think about once in a while, right? So if we do all our part in conserving this water, we can make a huge difference for the environment. So water conservation means using the water wisely and using it very properly. Since each of us depend on water for life, it's our responsibility to learn more about water conservation and how can we help keep the water pure and safe for generations to come. Since we enjoy the benefits of having pure, clean water, we must also help conserve water so that we may continue to enjoy these benefits, right? So water conservation is not a job that is just for the technician or hydrologist or forester or wildlife manager or plant scientist or city planner or park manager or farmer or any other else, but it is a job for the everyday person who just likes to have the access to the life sustaining resource of water, right? We must all recognize that water conservation really is our personal responsibility and not just leave it up to other people. We all must enjoy the many ways that we use water, so why not to do our part in caring for the water, right? This water supply is finite, which means that we do not have an endless supply, right? So we only have the water that we have now. 97%, as we discussed from the beginning of the chapter, that 97% of all the water on the earth is salty. So only 3% of all the water is fresh water, out of which from 3% also, that's a very negligible amount which is available for drinking water, and the other 2% is in the form of ice caps and glaciers, right? So with all the people on earth, which are lying on such a huge planet with this much percentage of water on earth, it only makes sense that we must preserve and conserve the water. We must not pollute it, because it is the only water we will ever have. So the people do not realize the importance of water, and they are continually polluting it. So it is for those who pollute it. Only about 10% of wastewater is disposed of properly, and rest of it is disposed like polluting water like anything. So we must learn to save water now for the future. The quality of the water is very important. We have the same amount of water now as there was when the earth was created, right? So this is the water we should save, and we must preserve its quality. Water is the formulation of food, it is the foundation of food and life. Next to air, water is the most precious resource. We cannot live without water, and saving water helps to preserve our environment, right? So it reduces the energy required to process and deliver water, which helps in reducing pollution as well, and in conserving fuel resources. So saving water now means having water available in the future for recreation purposes, etc., right? And conserving the water, we have minimized the effects of water shortages, and it helps build a better defense against future drought years, right? So we must save water today so that it will be available to us in the future. So to prevent such further shortages, households, communities, and private industries must adopt water saving practices, right? As Earth Day approaches, we should all ponder as to how we can help save the earth. And one of the biggest problems our planet is facing today is water shortage, right? So the Earth's surface is 75% water, right? That's why it's called the blue planet. However, only about 1% of its water is fresh water, and that is available for our daily needs, right? So over 1 billion people on this planet do not have access to safe drinking water. One of the biggest users of fresh water is the agricultural industry. However, it's not crops that they need the most water, but it's actually the livestock, right? So every country, big and small, is feeling the pressure of dwindling water supply. So countries like Israel and Netherlands, they are now doing good job because of this water scarcity, right? So this is the beautiful figure which is showing that there is water scarcity, and that is why how we can conserve it. Now here you can see the first picture, that is the picture of a water bill, and a man is getting shocked by seeing its water bill, right? So we should take care of this thing, that from the water bill we will come to know that how much water we are using, so we should not waste water, right? So this is one such measure. Secondly, we should use less water, or we can say that while bathing or while taking shower, whenever we are applying soap, turn off the shower to avoid the wastage of water. Then in the third picture you can see, collect water in a bucket in which you can pour the water up to some level, and then you can keep the vegetables in it for some time, so that the vegetables will we can clean up the vegetables and fruits. But do not clean the vegetables and fruits under the running water, or otherwise it is just a wastage of water. Fourthly, you can see here, for washing machine also use only that much of water which is actually necessary, otherwise don't waste water. By this water, by washing the clothes in a washing machine, you can use this water, you can throw this water afterwards in toilet, or you can also use for cleaning the floor. Then here you can see the pipe is leaking from a wash basin. The pipe is going and it is leaking, right? So this leakage should be properly corrected in such a way that the leakage should not be there, to avoid the wastage of water. And then you should use actually the half flush in the toilet, in the bathroom, right? Not the full flush, because full flush will actually waste the water, because the water flow is much more than the half flush, right? So we should always press the half flush, so that only necessary amount of water will flow, right? So this should be kept in mind. So there are many such things which we should keep in mind as to conserve water. Alright, however, we should not leave the responsibility of saving water on our government agencies and policy makers alone. There are many ways wherein we can save water at home, thereby helping the environment as well as saving our own utility bills, right? So do not leave the tap running when you are brushing your teeth. Use a glass instead, or use a mug instead. When washing hands, do not leave the tap running while reaching for the soap or worrying about those soap suds. Then fix the leaks as soon as possible. Run the washing machine and the dishwasher only when they are full. Save the water to wash vegetables and fruits. This can be used to water the plants and outside the house and in the bathroom too, right? For a commode. Then save rainwater in the summertime. Do not sprinkle on the lawn. Do not use sprinklers on the lawn. Use water from the kitchen sink or rainwater. Then take showers instead of bath. Most importantly, you should save water, or you should think of how to save water. You should check faucets and pipes for leaks. Don't use the toilet as just like a waste basket or like an ashtray. Then check your toilets for leaks. Then use your water meter to check for hidden water leaks. Install water saving shower heads and water flow faucet aerators, right? They are somewhat expensive, but you should use that. Put plastic bottles or the water booster on your toilet tank. Then be sure that at least some gallons of water should remain in the tank, so it will flush properly, right? Then we should take care of taking shorter showers. Then turn off the water after you wet your toothbrush. Rinse your razor in the sink. Use your dishwasher and clothes washer only when they are full loaded. Then minimize the use of kitchen sink, garbage disposal units, right? There are other points too, like when washing dishes by hand, do not leave the water running for rinsing. Don't let the faucet run when you clean vegetables and fruits. Keep a bottle of drinking water in the fridge, right? So these are some of the points for the conservation of water which you should keep in mind. Other than these, we know that households can save water by promptly fixing leaks or dripping taps, right? So although the water loss from leaks may not seem like much, it adds up to quite a lot. So a dripping tap can result in loss of up to 72 liters of water every day. So we should keep this in mind. Then recycling of water is also very important. We could start even in our homes. For example, water used in cleaning utensils can be used to water plants in the garden instead of being poured down the drain, right? So here you can see that a flood may happen if there is more water and if there is no proper method to conserve it. So we should take care of this. Now we know that a lot of water is lost during floods. So dams, reservoirs and embankments, they all should help to check, they will help to check the floods and flow of water. So these all should be built, and it should be kept in mind. So by improving the methods of irrigating the fields also, instead of filling up the entire field with water, farmers can be taught the method of watering the roots of plants, even drop by drop. So this should be kept in mind, that how can we save water. Right, here you can see a beautiful picture of a typical dripper. This is a typical dripper, right? So this should also be kept in mind, that we can use such a type of dripper, because of which irrigation method would be more nicely done, right? So Israel, which we discussed, that there are some countries which were facing water scarcity, but now Israel, which is a water scarce country, has come up with this innovative technique called drip irrigation, which is the method of watering the roots of the plants drop by drops. So this saves up to 1/3 of the water that would otherwise be lost during spray applications. So instead of using sprinklers, we can use this method, that is drip irrigation. Other than this, further it enables farmers to double harvests using the same amount of water. And in other countries such as Egypt, some solutions suggested are improvements in water efficiency and moving away from the water intensive crops. Other than this, there is one more method, and that is of rainwater harvesting, right? So rainwater harvesting is, this is one such beautiful picture of a representation of a typical water harvesting system or rain harvesting system. Now here you can see, first one is the collection area. The second one is the gutter from which the water is collected and it is then escaped into the gutter. The third one is, which we are seeing here, which we are looking here, is the gutter again. So from the gutter it will pass on to the conduit. From conduit it will pass to the recharge facility where it will be recharged and it can be used. Then it goes to the inlet. Here you can see this is the inlet of the storage tank. Seventh is the storage tank. From this it passes through the first flush device, where again it is collected at the 9th place, right? 10th one is the soak away. Soak away means, soak away will make a way from which the water would be absorbed by the soil or the garden. And then this is the tap, which can be closed or it can be opened. So it can be closed or it can be opened to regulate the overflow of water. So in this way, rainwater harvesting is a very good method to save water. So by building rainwater harvesting systems, it helps us to see, or it helps us to use rainwater directly, right? And these structures are designed to help capture and store rainwater during the monsoon season, and it serves as a source of drinking and irrigation water during the rest of the year. So it is a very good thing, right? Even in the southern states of India, tanks, artificial ponds and reservoirs have been constructed as a part of the water harvesting system, but these do not make a significant contribution to the total freshwater resource in India. But water harvesting systems, obviously they have a very strong impact on a local scale. So this should be kept in mind, that how we can conserve water by building dams, reservoirs, embankments and water harvesting system too, right? So this is all about the conservation of water. So always remember that how we can think of such steps by which this water can be conserved, because by thinking only that how we can conserve the water, we can actually make some plans to implement on it, and also we can think of using it very wisely and judiciously, right? So rainwater harvesting is such a system which can be found in all the great civilizations throughout history. In industrialized countries, rainwater harvesting systems have been developed for the purpose of reducing water bills, watering crops, and providing drinking water. In such countries such as Sri Lanka and Uganda, for example, rainwater is collected from trees using banana leaves or stems. So how amazing it is. Even they are using banana leaves or stems as temporary gutters, right? Even many other countries are using sophisticated filtration and tanks to benefit households or entire village. Then harvesting rainwater is actually growing in usage once more due to diminishing resources and ever-growing population. So basically the harvested water can be used for potable purposes. It can be used for people and animals, usually livestock, and often it is used for watering gardens and food crops. And the surplus water after usage can be used for recharging groundwater aquifer through artificial recharge techniques, and this can also result in improving the quality of the groundwater. For example, less fluoride content in the groundwater, right? So contamination of soils would also be very less, right? So harvested rainwater can be used for drinking, it can be used for garden and crops, it can be used for animals, it can be used for the food preparation and cleanup, then it can be used, clean water can be used for many hygienic purposes too. So you see that where there are many benefits of harvesting rainwater, because it can reduce the dependence on wells and other sources, and in many contexts they are often a more cost-effective source of soft, high-quality water, right? So rainwater harvesting not only conserves water, it is also like saving energy, because the energy input required to operate a centralized water system can be bypassed. It is also effective in reducing stormwater runoff pollution. When rain falls, it is relatively clean, however, it immediately picks up the pollutants from the rooftops and pavement, and this pollution is carried into the storm drains and then into the lakes and streams. So by collecting stormwater from the rooftops and directing it to the storage tanks, it can be later used for irrigation or flushing by decreasing the volume and the rate of runoff, right? So there are many such benefits of harvesting rainwater. Now, other than these, I would like to discuss one more important topic with you, and that is about water pollution. Yes, water pollution. Now, as we know that if we are not going to conserve water, obviously we are going to face a big crisis in the future, right? But there are many other things too, like industrial waste. They are not disposing of the waste very properly, and that is leading to the water pollution. So there are many such factors which leads to the water pollution. So what is actually this water pollution? It is when toxic substances enter lakes, streams, rivers, oceans, and other wastes, other water bodies. They get dissolved, or they lie suspended in water, or get deposited on the waterbed. So this results in the pollution of water, whereby the quality of the water also deteriorates, affecting aquatic ecosystems. So pollutants can also seep down, and they can affect the groundwater deposits as well. So water pollution has many sources, like the most of the polluting of them are the city sewage and industrial waste discharged into the rivers. So the facilities to treat wastewater are not adequate in any city in India. And presently, only about 10% of the waste. You just think that 10% of the waste water generated is treated, and the rest is discharged as it is into the water bodies. So due to this, pollutants enter groundwater, rivers, and other water bodies, and such water which ultimately ends up in the households is often highly contaminated, and it carries disease causing microbes, right? Even the agricultural runoff or the water from the fields that drain into the rivers is another major water pollutant, as it contains fertilizers and pesticides too. Right? So basically, at last, not the least, I would like to tell that water is a vital resource, students, right, for the survival of all living things. So without water, life on the planet Earth would not exist. And according to the recent studies, more than millions of people in many countries face water scarcity in world today, and it is predicted that by the year 2025 the number of people will be dealing with water scarcity will be more than 3 billion a year. 3 billion a year. So if this cycle of overconsumption of water and pollution of water and wastefulness of water does not subside, then the water supply will be severely diminished. So we should always think of saving and conserving water. Right? So that was all about the water conservation, and I hope you clearly understood the water conservation, and a very important topic in our today's life. Right? So I hope you will take such preventive measures and you can do something. Right? So we will meet in the next session with some new topic, some new lesson. Till then, keep learning, keep enjoying, and save water, save trees, and be happy.